So, as all you guys know, Flavia does a lot for all of us, and it's more than just giving us money. And I really got reminded of that when I was just scrolling through Instagram and I found this photo.
That's like 3 years ago.
Yeah. That was the very first day that I met you, and I remember everything leading up to that moment. I was in Wagner's 8th period geometry class, and it was like, Omar, go to the boardroom. And I walk in, I see half the crew team in there, and then you. And I'm like, who's this amazing woman? And it's been since that day that I've met you, Flavia. You've done nothing less than encourage me by helping me and helping me realize my own potential and setting me straight when I need it. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I honestly don't know where I would have been had I not have met you. It was as if God knew that these past few years were going to be very difficult and rough, and I was going to need someone to be there to help me through it all. And it was difficult keeping my head above water, but you were someone that I could always depend on, and I'm so grateful for that. There's an ocean of emotions like that I could use to explain it, but the only thing that comes to mind is just thank you. Thank you for being the awesome goddess that you are. Thank you for seeing all the potential that you see in me and in everybody else. Thank you for always encouraging us. Thank you just for being there. You really are awesome. Love you, Flav.
And I remember that day well too, Omar, when getting the call slips together and selecting and working with Flavia to pick the right guys for this, and we've really picked some tremendous young men. That was an indication of everything you just said. So this time I'm gonna, at this point, I don't know how much of an introduction we can do for what Miss Flavia has done for us and everybody here and for Roman Catholic High School and her passion of helping young people. We have a lot of things that we could ask for here at Roman between facilities, this, that, the other thing, but her passion is supporting you guys. She wants to help young people, and she's very adamant about that, passionate about that, and we're really grateful to have her to do that. So this time I'm going to invite her up to offer her words, and again, I thank her from me personally, and as Adam Galton, also personally on behalf of Roman Catholic High School. So Ms. Flavia Polk.
Do as I say, not as I do. I would never tell anyone to come up here without any notes on such an emotional day. Wow, let me gather myself. Omar, that was so much spoken and so much unspoken, and it just went straight to the core of my heart. So that I can gather myself, I'm just going to do a couple thank yous first. Because I care deeply about Roman, I care deeply about the legacy, I care deeply about my grandparents, but I do want to be really focused today because today is about my world, and my world is all of you. So before I talk about that, I just want to make a few thank yous. My first thank you I want to make is an acknowledgement I want to make is that I worship an awesome God. I truly worship an awesome God who makes everything possible. There's no greater gift I want to give to any of you guys than encouraging you guys to tether yourself to God at all times and just feel his unending, unconditional love and grace and forgiveness. He's been my savior, he's been my teacher, my friend, my guider, and he really deserves all the glory for anything that takes place in my life and does not deserve any of the blame. So I want to thank him first. I want to thank this incredible school, Roman Catholic High School, that I think it's fair to say, obsessed with. And I first took in my first, the superintendent called me when I was 23 years old and asked me if a student could live in my home. I was chief of staff at the time, Seemed like a little extra double duty while you're trying to be the first female chief of staff in the state, but I said yes. And that was after a lot of other work I'd done with young people, and I was young myself at 23. And that began the connection that I would have and the understanding that mentorship matters. And you can do it anywhere, and I have with Best Buddies and Boys and Girls Club and Big Brother, Big Sister. But having been the daughter and granddaughter of educators, Charles B. Colgan and Kevin Colgan, 30 years, in my heart I knew to truly make this work, you need partnerships. You need partnerships with parents, you need partnerships with communities, and you need partnerships with schools. I was blessed to have a good education and go to a good college. I was not blessed to have the stability of being in one sisterhood or brotherhood. I went to 4 different high schools. And I can remember during that experience really trying to meditate on like, what would the most amazing school be? And from the moment I stepped foot in the halls of Roman, something in me said this. This is what the most amazing school would be. It would be a school that reflects the city we live in. It would be a school so diverse in every way, socioeconomic, backgrounds, what types of families we come from, the color of our skin, our creeds, our interests, the way we comport ourselves, the way we speak, everything. And it would be a brotherhood. And it would be a place where people make mistakes, but they own up to it and take accountability and figure out how to get better. It would be a place that would be so visionary that while every other school is cutting back the arts, they would build an incredible black box theater and art place for you guys. Well, every other person across the country is not doing this. It would be a place that had incredible sports, but it would be a place where at the core of it, it is about the gospel, and it's about brotherhood, and it is about developing your service heart and understanding that despite your individual achievements, it is really about what we all do together. So when you're wearing that purple gold and I'm walking down the street, every time I feel confident that when I shout someone out, they're going to come correct with incredible respect and that they're going to be a gentleman. And maybe they might have come in a boy, but they're definitely leaving a man. That's what I know, that the folks at Roman are warriors and they're also gentlemen. Before I talk about all the positive stuff, and I know I trailed off with the thank yous, so I'm kind of all over the place here. But I just want to say this thing before I get to the thank yous. We talk about all the positive things. We get all the accolades. MVP, by the way, Jim Kimmery, where's he at? Just got MVP for the crew team. It's pretty amazing. And Jimmy Gorman got most improved player, which is really great. And Omar, I think you were MVP last year. Everybody's just been getting awards for everything. You've got so many awards. I can't keep track of the awards. And that's great. And we'll get to that. But I want to acknowledge something that happens when you are in an urban school environment where your parents sacrifice enough to get you to a place that really, when you look at it on paper, doesn't make sense for you to be here. You know what I'm saying? It's that extra money and that extra sacrifice they have to make. So when that happens, we all have different challenges. So I want to say in this room and beyond, because Cy couldn't be here, Danny couldn't be here, Jalen couldn't be here, Ryan couldn't be here, and a couple of other guys, but they all called in. That's how close this bond is. We've been through losing the closest people in our lives, our parents, together. We've been through overcoming abuse. We've been through overcoming bullying, overcoming anxiety, depression, abandonment, divorce, failure, disappointment, insecurities. Name anything. I'm talking about stuff that my adult friends buckle. Literally buckle and don't know what to do. And I've watched Colgan scholars confront those issues and so many more with a grace and a strength that is truly awe-inspiring. You guys have grit, and you have resilience, and you've got guts. And that matters to me a lot. So before we just start talking about the positive, I don't want everybody in their separate silos thinking, oh, why is my life so rough right now? A lot of people's lives are rough right now. When we leave here tonight, we've all got to say some prayers because we've got some Colgan Scholar parents who are on the cusp fighting for their life right now. And every week, there seems to be a new challenge. And every week, you guys seem to keep showing up, which is amazing. I'm going to continue with my thank yous for a moment. I want to thank, because I already thanked Rome, and I think that's obvious. I want to thank my incredible father, Kevin Colgan, teacher of over 30 years in the Philadelphia public school system. I could thank him for much, but I'll thank him for the thing that is the hardest to give and the best to receive, and that is unconditional love. I want to thank my uncle, Sean Colgan. My grandparents came up in North Philly, brought in Olney. When my grandfather became a public school teacher, he made it and went to Roxborough. And, they didn't have tons, but they always had an extra seat at the table for folks. And they gave all three of their boys a great education. But besides that, my uncle wasn't, privileged with tons of connections and all that. And so the financial empire that he built with his own sweat. And I am grateful for that hard work and all those hours that has resulted in the financial bounty that he's able to share. And I'm incredibly grateful and humbled that of all the amazing people he knows and has in his life, that he has chosen me with the most important task he has in his life, which is to make sure the legacy of the people who inspired us to do everything, Charles P. Colgan and Mary Colgan, is honored. So that's an honor for me. And it is truly always, and Father Bongard touched on this, it is truly always that I feel blessed to be a blessing. That is an incredible opportunity. The last thank you is to my grandparents, without whom none of this would be here. They were humble Irish immigrants that were deeply in love. My grandfather, who was here, took my grandmother, who was at Hallahan, to prom. And I'm wearing on my wrist the little charm that he bought her when they turned 21 that says "My Valentine." My grandfather was on the crew team. My grandmother was in creative writing. My grandfather did well. My grandmother graduated valedictorian. She got a full ride to college, but she couldn't go to college because a full ride was not enough, because she had to work numerous jobs to contribute to the household income of her family. But she later went on to graduate from St. Joe's University in the same class as my father. So these are the types of folks that we're talking about. And so when we talk about rowing, the inclusiveness that my grandfather created in rowing, wanting to make sure that it was not just an elite sport for white men of privilege. He started everything in rowing that has to do with making it more inclusive. He started handicap rowing, mentally challenged rowing, masters rowing, female rowing, integrating rowing. I mean, just name anything. So that was his legacy. And they saw things in me well before I saw them in myself. And that's what I hope to be for all of you. I'm so proud of your conduct. I know all the conduct scores by heart that aren't 100, and that's because they so infrequently happen that I have them memorized. I'm not going to shout them out here today, but you know who you are. And they're usually like 96 or 98, so we're not talking too extreme. I've been so impressed with your grades and the hard work that goes into it. I've been so impressed by the brotherhood and help that you've given to your fellow Colgan scholars and students by mentoring them and helping them with homework. I've been impressed with the hours that you put on the wrestling mats and the boats out on the river, and being an ambassador and trying to encourage people to come to school, of painting great paintings, of singing in the choir, and even going international with it. And for our 8th grader coming in, I can't wait to hear some of your music and your drawings. I know you're into comics and different things, and we'll learn more and more about you. But the point of the matter is that God fashions each of us so uniquely. And I put as my goal not to have the most kids that went to Ivy Leagues or had to this, or I don't know, there's other goals people have in their head. I had as my goal, which is an impossible goal, which I'll never reach, and I love making goals like that for myself, because then you're just always hustling. And my goal is that I'd like to love you guys the way that God loves us. Uniquely, and as if you were the only person in the world. Because all of you are so precious to me. Some of you speak so much that I can barely get an edge in, like a word in edgewise. Some of you I have to extract words from with like the Socratic method, and the person smiling, they know who they are. Some of you, things come too effortlessly, and you just go, oh, I just knew how to do that. And I'm like, how do you do that? Not a problem. While others fight tooth and nail to get the grades they do. Some of us have just incredible parents who I want to thank, who are just, I'm so humbled that they would allow me to have the role in their child's life when they have already done the bulk of the work. It's just humbling to me that I get to be a part of this journey. And I'm so grateful to the parents and what they've done and what they've contributed. And our families all look different, you know? And if you don't have a mother or if you don't have a father, that has zero to do with who you are and your worth. And God obviously believes that your mom or your dad's got it under control solo. And you can use that pain to turn it into power. And you can use those tests to be a testament and testimony to your life. So each of us is battling different things. Each of us has different gifts. And I love each and every one of you. Even the new guys who I'm just starting to get to know that somehow sneak their way into like already being Colgan scholars for half the year this year, I've been noticing, which has been great. And there's going to be many times I fail. I miss races. I probably give bad advice sometimes. Maybe I don't answer a phone call when you really, really need me. But there's been two things that I've never not done. Hand on Bible, never not done since the first day I met you. And that is, I've never not loved you. I've never woken up a day and not thought, man, I've got to figure out something great to do for these young men. And I have never not prayed over you, by name and in specific, every day, 7 days a week. Because I know that whatever I can give and offer and mentor, and I try to do my best, no one can do what God can do. And what is impossible for men is possible for God. So, as we think about, like, what is a Colgan Scholar? What do I want from you guys? Do I want you guys to win a championship, so Bill Schmidt's not the only Triple Crown person in a room? Sure, that'd be nice. Do I want you guys to be such great ambassadors that our enrollment just keeps like booming here in the school? We just have to keep building more and more buildings? Yeah. But I'd like you guys to write beautiful paintings. Do I want you all to respect your parents, respect your grandparents, respect your teachers? Do I want you to be faith-filled? Do I want you to care about the gospel and develop a relationship with Christ? Yes, I do. I would like you to do all those things. But more than anything, if there's anything I want you to do and know, is I want you to know how worthy you are. I want you to know that you don't need to get straight A's or get into a fancy school or win a race to deserve my love. I want you to know that you are enough. And I want you to know that what makes you unique and different and special is what makes you great. And as you guys go out to be doctors and engineers and lawyers and priests and teachers and captains in the Navy and folks in the Marines or Army, whichever one we decide, or finance or anything else that you decide, I want you to do what you do with a service heart. I want you to do it with joy. And I want you to know how loved you are at every single moment of every day by your Creator, who knows you better than your parents or myself or anyone. And if you forget any of this and you don't keep in touch after college, which hasn't happened yet, so just saying, I want you to know that sometime long ago, back when I was in high school, there was this crazy, funny, really intense lady who looked at thousands of kids and said, me. She thought I was different. She thought I was special enough. She thought that I made a difference enough to give up her career in TV and all the other things. And when I first came here, I got the dumbest questions from everyone. Why? Why would you do this? Why would you leave Hollywood and television? And I said, if you met these young men, you wouldn't ask me questions about stars. You would see how much they shine. You guys are the greatest things I've ever been a part of in my life. And everything that's come before this, I'm only happy about because it's allowed me to have the skills I need to intervene in potentially any situation that you guys need me in. And that's the only reason I'm grateful for my political career, my TV career, and everything else. This, you guys, are the gems. You guys are the future. And I have 3 quotes that I want to end with. And one is from Nietzsche, who's a much smarter person than I am. So we should probably listen to what he has to say. And he said, "Who we are shouts so loudly, I cannot hear what you say. Who we are shouts so loudly, I cannot hear what you say." So take that in. The second one is, we are not what has happened to us. We are what we choose to become. Your limitations, your struggles, your pain, those are power. That is God fashioning you like fire to be your strongest and best, and increasing your compassion and empathy so that you can be gentle warriors into the world. And the third thing I would say is that Justice Felix Frankfurter once said that the greatest praise that you can give a man is to say that you would bet on him. I would bet everything I've got on every single one of you. I would bet on you to be successful. I would bet on you to give back. I would bet on you to be blessed, to be a blessing. And I would bet on you to have wonderful personal lives. That's so important. My husband can't be here today, but trust and believe I can't do anything I do up here without the sacrament of marriage and his incredible support and unending love for all of you as well. So I bet on every single one of you. Hunter, I bet on you. Joey, I bet on you. Right? Do I bet on you? Do you think, or am I going to skip you over? No, I bet on you. Zero, of course I bet on you. Omar, I bet on you. Jim Kimry, I bet on you. Justice, I bet on you back in 8th grade. St. Francis of Xavier, my grandfather also went to school. Matt Mondras, I bet on you. Jerome, I bet on you. Fran, bet on you. Jimmy, you're a sure bet. George, we should have had the symbols here. Bet on you. Talir, I bet on you. Charlie, my granddad's namesake, Charlie, I bet on you. Devion, I bet on you. Mr. Roman Ethan Hack, I bet on you. James Cephas, I bet on you. Pete Gray, I bet on you. Seamus O'Connell, I bet on you. Nate Harris is looking like, uh-oh, am I in jeopardy? I definitely bet on you, Nate Harris. Jared, I bet on you. And Jose, I bet on you. And Alice, I bet on you. And Dylan, Christian, and Bill, I already bet on you. And it's working out really well because you guys are crushing it. So I just want to say, in closing, a real quick thing about our graduates, because that's all the remarks I have for the rest of you guys. But we've got 4 folks graduating from Roman on Friday, and it has been a pleasure. Mr. Roman Ethan Hack, what can I say about you? You are kind of impossible to love, and you're kind of my secret weapon. Every time I want something good to just happen, I'll be like, Ethan, make it happen. Like, what, Miss Flavia? What exactly? I don't know. Just go do what you do. These are the conversations we have. Building the garden and captaining the crew team and being in bow. LaSalle is incredibly lucky to have you. James Cephas, I love our conversations. I love that you read a book just about rigging, like within a day from when I gave it to you. And I love when I issued you a really intense challenge when you were doing pretty good already, that you answered it and answered it big time. I have no doubt that in about 10 years, people will be saying, oh, you know that new Tony Nezapor, James Cephas? Yeah, he's running things. So I'm looking forward to that. Talir, your awesome smile when I walked into like the office there, that was it. As soon as I saw that smile, I was like, my heart was taken away. You're one of the few people I let call me ma'am, and I like it. And you're a Renaissance man, and you're going to do very well at Seton Hall, and they're lucky to have you. And Omar, I don't even know what to say about Omar. I don't even know how we're here. You are one of the most inspiring, compassionate, resilient, creative, loving people I've ever known. And you have overcome things with a level of grace that humbles me. And I'm so happy that you're in my life. And then, of course, the OG, Bill Schmidt, who just graduated from Penn and already got embarrassed on the big screen. He's going to have to still get embarrassed today. I'm so happy that Bill Schmidt graduated from the University of Pennsylvania. That's a big deal, folks. He was captain of the crew team for 2 years in a row, rowed all 4 years, juggled a lot of different commitments. And Bill Schmidt just has a quiet leadership that is just known. I mean, it's a known thing all throughout the river. It's a known thing for many of us. And his work ethic is pretty much unparalleled. I mean, I have people coming up to me talking about it. And it's awesome to watch. He's definitely one of the ones where you got to really work, like taking water from a stone to get a couple sentences. But, 6 years in, we talk now, especially if I cook a good dinner. I get more out of him. That's been my technique so far. But you continue on being your quiet leader self, but I hope someday all the beautiful words you write, one of the strongest writers I've read, I hope you share those words with the world, because they should hear them. So I'm very proud of you. So that's pretty much all I have to say, and I just want you guys to know that I love you unconditionally, that I think you're all enough just the way you are, and that I hope that you take my belief in you not as pressure, but as purpose. I hope you recognize the time and the talent and the treasure that I pour into all of you, and I do so with joy. And I hope you take that in and let it marinate in you and realize, wow, she sees me. And so on the days that maybe you don't see yourself, try to access that. Try to access, wow, I was chosen. And try to push yourself in every way, spiritually, emotionally, physically, athletically, in terms of the way you respond to your parents and your teachers, the way you choose to seek to understand before being understood, to be respectful even when it's hard, and to do your best. And if your best is A's, that's great. And if your best is B's, that's great too. The goal is not success. The goal is pure passion, love, work ethic, focus, and pouring everything you have into it. Success is a byproduct, which you will attain much if you follow those rules. But I don't want you getting twisted as to what the most important thing is. So with that, I love you.